and Steve Sprinklers from our City National Bank, along with Walgreens and the Cancer Centers of Reward, along with our silver and bronze sponsors, because without these sponsorships, we will not be here today. And a special thanks to our panelists who will introduce us about the AI, Dr. Rahul Rajan and Raj. Thank you so much. Before I go any further, I would like to introduce Dr. Yogesh Joshi, and I'll come back later.
Thank you, Amit. It's really great to see a number of India Center stakeholders right here. We have students from UCF, we have faculty from UCF, we have UCF alumni, and we have the Indian American community. In some sense, educating, increasing the knowledge of India, but overall, expanding the horizons of the entire UCF community as well as the Indian American community. In some sense, that's the mission and the mandate of the India Center. India Center is an incubator of research, education, enterprise, and knowledge on contemporary India. And I'm delighted to see that happening right here in this room today. There are two reasons I think I would underline why this gathering is significant. One is, it is the partnership with Indian American organizations, which is very, very special to the India sector. We are trying to partner more and more in domains of comparative advantage. As I said, India Center wants to be the intellectual spearhead of the Indian American community in Central Florida. This is where our comparative advantage lies. And you can see that we have today's panel a UCF faculty, a UCF alumni, and one who has been mentoring startups in the region for quite some time. I think that's a special recognition for the India Center. I would also say that this could not have been possible without the leadership of the Indian American Chamber of Commerce. I started with, and I've been just here for a year, but with Janser, who has been incredibly supportive, Amit, who has come out with great enthusiasm on working with the India Center, and I think the entire community of the Indian American Chamber of Commerce. So thank you so much for doing this with the India Center, which I think is first of many academic programs which we want to bring to our community. With that, let me just plug in, because that's, the idea of this moment is also to think about AI at a very, very large level. And there is a major AI summit which is going to happen in India in February 2026. Rising powers like India have to be leaders in intellectual thought process of emerging technology. And that's what the Indian government has been trying to do with the AI Impact Summit in 2026. All of you can in some capacity participate in this mega event which is being held in Delhi. Our Council General in Atlanta has a brief message for you all before we start the proceedings of today's panel. I will now hand over to the moderator to play that video from the Council General of India in Atlanta. Thank you so much.
Good evening and namaste. Greetings from Consulate General of India in Atlanta to the moderators, organizers, and the August gathering. Congratulations to the India Center and IACC in organizing this collaborative forum on AI, where the benefits and challenges of AI is going to be deliberated. You all know India has made significant strides in various sectors: economy, infrastructure, healthcare, education, and digital innovation. Despite global challenges, India has demonstrated robust economic resilience with a projected growth rate of over 6.5%, making it one of the fastest growing major economies. India is emerging as a leader in innovation, digital transformation, and sustainable development, and presents enormous opportunity for collaboration, investment, and knowledge sharing. We all know about India's startup ecosystem, where more than 100 unicorns are produced in the last 4 to 5 years. The Government of India policies such as Atmanirbhar Bharat, Self-Reliant India, and the production-linked incentive schemes and various other investments in research and development are driving the technological self-sufficiency and manufacturing strength. In that, artificial intelligence stands at the threshold of fundamentally reshaping human civilization, pushing the boundaries of what we can achieve. This technological revolution opens unprecedented opportunities for advancements across every domain of human endeavor. For developing countries, AI offers an unprecedented opportunity to leapfrog traditional development pathways. It's not seen as a technological advancement, but a strategic tool to enable inclusive growth and also to have opportunities that have been out of reach for large segment of population. India AI Impact Summit 2026 is scheduled to be held in New Delhi from February 19th and 20th next year. It will be the first ever global AI summit hosted in Global Sound. Building on the momentum of leading international AI forums, the high-level convening marks a critical inflection point. It will strengthen existing multilateral initiatives while advancing new opportunities, deliverables, and cooperative framework. The AI Impact Summit will be anchored on 3 fundamental pillars called sutras. It's a Sanskrit word meaning guiding principle. These sutras or principles define how AI can be harnessed through multilateral cooperation for collective benefit. The People Sutra, the People Principle, envisions AI as a force for human progress. The Planet Sutra calls for AI that advances innovation responsibly. The Progress Sutra envisages AI as an engine for inclusive growth. Building upon these fundamental principles or sutras, the deliberation in the AI Impact Summit will be organized around 7 interconnected chakras, which means we are the guiding principle. These are all human capital, inclusion for social empowerment, safe and trusted AI, resilience, innovation, efficiency, science, democratizing AI resources, AI for economic growth and social good. Each chakra represents a distinct yet interconnected sphere of multilateral engagement through which the transformative potential of AI can be harnessed to deliver tangible benefit. So this AI Summit aims to build consensus on all these issues so that AI impact is realized equitably by all. I'll request the August gathering to benefit in participating in this great event. If anybody is interested in organizing a pre-summit event, please hit the website. You will find details. And if the pre-summit event is liked and it is in line with the principles, you will get funding as well. Ladies and gentlemen, you all know India and US enjoy a comprehensive global strategic partnership. In that, during our Prime Minister visit in February, US-India Trust Initiative was launched. It's an initiative where government-to-government, academia, and private sector collaboration to promote various applications of critical and emerging technologies, including defense, artificial intelligence, semiconductors, quantum, etc., etc. Index as biggest pillar of the Trust Initiative is US-India roadmap on accelerating AI infrastructure by end of this year. This initiative will identify a constraint to financing, building, powering, and connecting large-scale AI infrastructure in India with various milestones and future action. This is a great opportunity for anybody who wants to invest in India and US in the AI sector. Please follow the Trust Initiative. Once again, thank you for giving opportunity to say few words in this congratulations for the organizer for organizing such a meaningful event, and all the best wishes. Thank you, Jay.
Artificial intelligence is impacting the world like never before, and the world has moved from Bletchley Park to Seoul, from Paris, and now in 2026, all eyes turn to India in our collective quest for a global governance for responsible AI. Each step has sharpened our collective resolve to make artificial intelligence safe, inclusive, and actionable. On February 19th and 20th, world leaders, alongside the entire AI ecosystem, governments, industry, researchers, academia, startups, and students will converge in New Delhi, India. Their mission? To shape strategies on how this powerful technology can be harnessed for humanity's greater good. The India AI Impact Summit will be inaugurated by Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi and will be guided by a clear mantra: impact, rooted in 3 sutras of people, planet, progress. People, where AI empowers every citizen while ensuring that no one is left behind in the AI revolution. Planet, where innovation safeguards our environment and helps solve challenges for climate action. Progress, for economic productivity and inclusive growth. At the summit, 7 chakras as themes will guide the way forward. Human capital, inclusion, safe and trusted AI, resilience, innovation and efficiency, science, democratizing AI resources, and social good. This will help bring the global south to the center stage of AI discourse. More than 200 pre-summit events are envisioned across India and around the world, spanning panels, roundtables, and collaborations that lead into the summit. In the build-up, a series of global challenges and events will set the stage. The Global AI Pitch Fest, the Youth for Unnati and Vikas with AI UI Challenge, AI by Her for Women Innovators, AI for All Challenge, and a global research symposium. It all builds towards a summit of unprecedented scale, uniting nations and innovators to set the direction for AI's future. Across 7 themes, the summit will host 60+ sessions over 2 days, anchored by a vibrant AI expo that brings together startups, innovators, researchers, technology companies, and global pavilions. The India AI Impact Summit is where the greatest minds and leaders of the global AI ecosystem will come together to meet its greatest test, delivering impact on people, on planet, on progress. And it begins here in New Delhi, India.
Awesome, Laila. And all this program is put together by her. Let's give her a big round of applause. Thank you. All the emails, everything. Thank you.
No, it's been a collaboration, and I really must give a lot of thanks to our students, because the students are behind all of this. So they are really the strength of the Indian Center, so thank you. We have Arjun, Nirmala, and Nicole here with us today, but there are other students involved too. So with that, let's get to the program. Leading today's discussion is Dr. Amanda Main, Chief Innovation Officer and Assurance of Learning Coordinator at UCS College of Business. Amanda is an award-winning industrial and organizational psychologist with a passion for leadership and organizational behavior. She's worked on projects from NASA to entrepreneurial ventures, helping businesses navigate change and innovation. With her expertise in coaching and strategy, Amanda is the perfect guide for our conversation in AI and business. She's a well-sought-after speaker who regularly shares insights on the future of work and emerging technologies. So welcome, Amanda, to moderate today's panel. And our first panelist is Dr. Rahul Rastan, an innovator at the crossroads of technology and society. Rahul's career spans academia, startups, and Fortune 500 leadership, from shaping CPU architecture at Digital Equipment Corporation to driving strategy at Flextronics and Cadence. He's launched ventures in wireless power, machine learning, and electronics design, and now leads Rastan Research Institute, where he's incubating ideas in autonomous vehicles, STEM education, and AI. With degrees from Carnegie Mellon and a PhD from Harvard, Rahul brings a wealth of insight in how technology transforms our world. So welcome, Rahul, to the panel. And our second panelist today is Raj Shah, an alumnus from UCF. Raj is a transformative marketing leader with over 25 years of experience driving growth and customer experience in B2B space. As Vice President of Marketing at X-Ray Pantone, Raj leads global strategy, digital innovation, and omnichannel engagement, helping businesses connect with customers in meaningful ways. His track record includes building high-performance teams, scaling e-commerce, and delivering measurable impacts across industries. Raj's passion for customer-centric solutions and data-driven decision-making makes him a great voice for today's conversation. So welcome, Raj, and I'll hand it over to our team for the panel discussion.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here today. I am excited to be sitting next to these two gentlemen. And since you are the star of the show today, without further ado, I'd like to ask if you could share a little bit about your journey with AI, where it started, the ups and downs, where you're at now.
Sure. So first of all, I want to say thank you for having us. UCF India Center is close to the heart. UCF even closer, and community is the heart, so thank you. I have AI from, my experience comes from two places. One is that, I'm a professional in a large corporation, and we use a lot of AI for a lot of processes, back office, as well as enabling growth. And then I also have a startup. It's no longer a startup, but it's 4 years in it. It solves a valuable problem for an industry. So that's where my experience in AI comes from.
Can you hear me? Yes. So for me, so I've had a career about 40 years now in the electronics industry, and unbeknownst to me, AI was following me all through there. So when I was at Carnegie Mellon, a lot of work there was happening with Mule and Hook Simon, these kinds of things, on the first wave of AI. Believe it or not, we're in the third or fourth wave of AI right now. And the first wave of AI was all about how do we use computation to sort of solve problems, and the classic example was the chess competition, right? That was basically what those people believed was with enough computation, you can figure everything out, and chess was the sort of the typical application, and when that succeeded, people said, well, that'll replace humans tomorrow. Right? So that was back in those days. And the next wave came along with these things called knowledge graphs and expert systems. I don't know if you guys remember these words, right? So the problem with the initial wave was, well, it turns out we don't have enough computation to actually figure everything out. So let's have some human knowledge, and we're going to have these experts fill out some database, and then this expert system is going to go figure out problems. And that went along for a while, but it turned out it's really hard to sort of build these graphs, right? And now we're sort of in the third wave where really the discovery that changed everything was, if you take the corpus of language that we have as humankind, and we push it into a very large model, it appears to have a lot of interesting properties. It can be conversational, it can even seem to reason, maybe it does reason, maybe it doesn't reason, right? And so that was the big discovery that really first the Google guys had, and now OpenAI is taking it to the next level. And that discovery is now driving, as all of you know, a huge number of applications. And some are working and some are not. But that fundamental discovery, and that's the only way I can say it, was a discovery, that is really starting to change a lot of things.
Thank you. So I'm glad you brought up the human aspect of this, because we are all still sitting in this room, so we haven't been replaced yet. Where do you see the balance of AI and human interaction? Either a place where they complement each other really well, or danger zones that you might see on the horizon?
Yeah, I mean, it's really about extending the human capability, and so it's more augmentation than replacing. But I can tell you, one of the applications where we deploy AI at my work is in customer experience. So we get a large number of tickets and customer inquiries, and you simply cannot scale up the amount of resources to answer that. And so, of course, we leverage AI, and it does a fantastic job, but while doing it, right, while deploying it, the biggest concern that you would have from the team would be, oh, this is going to replace my job. But when they are involved in it, when they see it for themselves, ultimately it registers that this is enabling me to do maybe a higher level of work, right? So I never see that as competition. It is probably one of the biggest misconceptions. But I think that it's more about enabling. I mean, yesterday on the news, I was watching Volusia County deployed an AI system to answer the 911 calls. On a daily basis, they get about 2,000 calls everywhere from dogs barking and I need help to somebody's going to die and I need help. And it's simply impossible for them to figure out how to route the right calls to the right person in real time. And so with AI, they now have dropped off 50% of the volume, and they can, get to the right calls quicker. So even the people who were involved, they were kind of showing interviews of the people who were managing that system. They all themselves kind of realize and say, yes, this is helping us do more and better type of work versus what we normally would think that, okay, this is here, either take my job, replace us. That's more of a misconception.
Yeah, at least the way I think about what we have today for AI is sort of two mental models, if I can put it that way, right? So the one mental model is anything that involves language, the LLM technology can potentially be useful. So customer support, interfaces, coding, these kinds of things. Anything that involves language processing, it can be useful. But it can be, what I'll say is that it can be useful, but often it's not the ultimate solution. And this is the second mental model I have. Generally speaking, the training is all done on backwards-looking data, right? So we take data which was produced in the past, and we use that for training, which has biases and other things built into it. So the language models are really good at taking human beings, and if you kind of think of a sphere as the knowledge base of today, if you're in the center of the sphere, in the old days, you had to struggle to get to the edge, to the leading edge, right, to the state of the art. And AI can accelerate your process to the edge. But once you get to the edge, you're the one that has going to have to drive it, right? And this is, so what ends up happening is it ends up making extremely competent people much more productive, right? So senior software people are like, oh, I don't need a team of 10 people, I need a team of 5 people, or 2 people, right? And you still need the senior person because they have knowledge at the edge that the AI doesn't have. But the interior, you know, I'll say the work that you know, wasn't on the edge, if I can put it that way, that's where we have to think about, okay, what are those people going to do? And what I'm particularly worried about is the initiation period. You know, so what ends up happening is you graduate from college, and you know, many of you have kids, I have kids. Once you're at the expert stage, it's very good. But getting to the expert stage and being accepted, that, I'll say that gap is growing. And so that's something we're going to have to figure out how we, from a career point of view, accelerate people up to a point of expertise, and especially in the context of the senior expert can now use AI as a buddy.
So excellent point about the expertise, but in terms of being able to use the AI, what would you say is the best way for someone who wants to upskill in that field? They have the expertise in their area, but they want to upskill in artificial intelligence. Where would you start?
Well, I mean, you sort of have three. You sort of have 3 domains of interest, right? And so one domain is like the core systems, the core mathematics, building the next generation models, building the infrastructure to program. So that is certainly a big and growing field, but it's a field, it's sort of like healthcare. It's kind of PhDs, right? Very skilled people that are at it for a while. And relatively speaking, a smaller number of people will do this over time because the number of models is not going to be that big. The second domain is applications. So how do you take these models and how do you take private data, especially, and interesting use models? And I think that's going to be a lot of people are going to be working on that area. If you're in hospitality, how do I apply it to hospitality? And so there you sort of have to know enough about the models to know how to use them, but you have to really know your application. And that will be a pretty big sector, okay? And then I would say the third area is leading edge research, right? You use these models for, you know, solving the next theorem or the next algorithm and solving real problems. And I think that'll also, especially in academia and research, will be a place where people will use it a lot. So to answer your question, you have to figure out which one of these buckets am I kind of going after. If you're going for the very left, you know, as it were, you're going to have to get deeply into mathematics and statistical, you know, that's that world. If you're in the middle, it's more traditional software development, but you're using AI as a tool. So learn about that. And then the last one, obviously, is your domain. You know, if you're doing geophysics or something, you're again using AI as a tool, but taking it to the edge.
Yeah, I agree. I think the application space is huge. You know, I mentioned we have an AI. We are solving a valuable problem. In India, digital lending is very limited. And so we're creating a system using AI to score small business owners based on a lot of their personal information, their banking information, their GST information, which is a government tax. Based on all of that, we create a scoring system that allows a bank, who's our customer, to then lend money and make that digital, you know, that intelligent decision. And one of the problems we solve is, you know, there are so many banks, thousands of banks. Each bank has a bank statement in such a variety then people send that information to the bank loan officer by way of WhatsApp or by taking a picture or sending a PDF, or we could, extract it out of through an API from the government record. So we're harmonizing, we're structuring that data, and then being able to present that in a uniform way so somebody can make a decision, right? So this is one part of it, similar to what those guys were talking about, document processing. But that's an example of an application in financial services. I'm trying to read the room here. There's people who are real estate moguls, there's some doctors, there's pharmacists, there's franchise owners. Every domain has a problem to solve. And you can't do that until now, or you would have a slow path towards it. But now this intelligent assistant, this capability comes and helps you, right? I have, I work in the cover field, and there's a pathologist friend that I work with, where we have this digital pathology where, you stain the cells through color, and now, until now, a human being would have to read through a microscope and determine if this is cancerous or not. But now we have an AI that's continuously learning and improving, and being able to, solve that problem of what a trained eye could otherwise miss over a period of time due to fatigue, etc. Right? So we are in almost every field, every domain, whether you're a business owner, whether you're working in research, there is a problem to be solved, which is where I would say that a person can engage and say, do I be an entrepreneur by solving that problem leveraging AI, or do I go and work in the research field helping someone? So that's how you would position yourself.
Interesting. In talking about, the way that AI models grow using data, obviously the more data the model has, the better it gets, which also increases privacy concerns. Where would you say the line should be drawn between training the model and protecting consumer, patient, student data?
Yeah, big problem. You have to be ethical, of course. There's a lot of compliance that you need to have. Some of these industries are heavily regulated. You have to follow that. Data is the new oil, right, for AI. AI feeds itself. It's a beast, and what it needs to eat is data. And so data is it could go in the wrong hands very, very easily. So yeah, I mean, you have, at a large corporation where I work, we have a lot of checks and balances in place. I would say, resist the temptation. Like, I'm in marketing, so we can ask a number of data points from a customer's profile that we can ingest and then use it later. But you have to ask yourself that question when you're making those models. Like, wait, do I need this information? So you have to resist that urge or that temptation. So you have to build it in a responsible way. In some principles, like, don't, if you're putting your data in a public LLM, don't put something that is proprietary, obviously. It's like, if you're not going to say it in a crowded room out loud, then don't put it in the public LLM, right? Those kind of simple principles. But yeah, it's a big field. There's a lot of regulations in place, and there will be more coming, and you have to be mindful of all of that.
Again, I'm going to kind of employ sort of a couple of ways we can think about this, right? So the first comment I would make is, right now the large models are just incredibly large. They're so large that it takes data centers and nuclear plants to train them and run them. It's not entirely clear that it needs to be this way. And kind of the example I give is, when I give talks about this, when we did the first DNA sequencing, to do that first DNA sequence was like $1 billion. And now if you want to do a DNA sequence, as it's a couple $100, right? And that was a super exponential curve down based on hardware, software, algorithms, And so I would not be surprised as we learn more about, what we're doing here, that the model sizes will actually become smaller and more specialized. Okay? So that would be the first comment I would make. The second comment I would make is that private data, there's obviously going to be private data. You don't want your financials at, Vanguard to be published in LLM, and they won't allow it anyway. Health data, other things. And so there's a federation. So in your mind, think about it sort of an architectural model where maybe the front end is some generic LLM that's good at conversation, but then there's local agents that are private in nature that actually never leave the firewall, right? And increasingly, this is the architecture that people are putting together right now. So some kind of generic thing that's the triage, as a word. But when you get to specifics, it's a much smaller model or even a traditional solution. And that traditional solution can access private data, and usually that's the thing that can also make commitments. Because as many of you know, there's this issue with LLMs, with hallucinations, right? So in order to split this world, this kind of architecture is now emerging, and this is how we handle things like privacy.
So a little veering off of privacy and talking about transparency, the black box problem, trying to engender trust with the population you're working with. Where do you think the line is between keeping your AI systems proprietary and being transparent enough for people to feel comfortable working with your systems?
Yeah, I mean, it's the explaining and transparency, the big black box. What that generally means is, do I trust what is ingested from me in terms of data, and then the output that is provided, right? So that's kind of what that means. In my experience at my professional work, where I work, the only way we could, the principles that we adhere to is disclose when we are using AI. Okay? If we're using AI, like we saw a video today, a couple of videos. There was a good amount of AI in both of those videos I could pick. But those are examples. There's a lot of content that will be created, is being created. So always disclose, especially if that content is served to you based on your own data or some information extracted from you. So that's like a cardinal principle. And then also be very clear on how the model came to that conclusion, right? So if I go and tell someone that, your role is being rejected, that's not good enough. If I'm using an AI model, I should say, based on an AI model, we don't believe you are able to get to this loan, and if they want to, we should be able to show them how that algorithm came to that decision. And these are the cardinal principles for me that you have to follow. Otherwise, it seems like a black box. There may be a bias. There is something wrong in it. There is easily a distrust that can be developed. So this is what we practice.
Yeah, I mean, what you're asking is a really deep question, because fundamentally, AI is a probabilistic engine. It's just, that's what gives it its power. I once wrote an article, AI is sort of like the quantum physics of the computing world, because probabilistic behavior is a very key part of what it gives it its power. So given that probabilistic, nature of it, it's very hard to answer questions with certainty, right? About its trustfulness. People try to put it, there's ideas of explainable AI, and there's ideas around a lot of these things, but that fundamental issue still exists, and probably will exist, because that's what gives us power. Now, human beings are not all that explainable, right? I can ask somebody human beings understand other human beings, right? And we as human beings, as an example, ultimately I can say, well, I don't agree with you and I can sue you. And then there's this whole thing called the body of law, which is actually a funny aggregation of expectations that we as human beings built with each other, right? So that's how human beings sort of manage this, process. Like in the liability world, there's this kind of concept of what's a reasonable action in the context of, knowing the totality of the facts. What would an ordinary human think, right? There's a lot of really subtleties in that statement, right? I have to understand how other humans think, I have to understand the context, and then based on that, we decide whether there's liability. We haven't built that kind of context for AI engines, right? And ultimately, I mean, between you, me, and the wall, it's going to be determined in courts. For autonomy, there'll be some harm that's caused, they'll be sued, and then we'll start forming the outlines of what that liability structure looks like.
So we like brought up the possibilities. It's not a guarantee.
Right.
So for each of you, what has been either one disappointment that you've had in deploying AI, where it didn't go the way you thought it was going to go, and how do you handle that? Or one unexpected benefit that wasn't what you were looking for, but you saw an improvement kind of on the fringes?
I'll go back to the example of building a self-service portal, customer experience portal, like sort of, when you go to Amazon and you want to know your information, your past orders, track your shipments. So we built something like that at work. And the first model had challenges. One of the most common as a small business owner, you could say, let's say, you are a doctor and you have your own practice and you want to answer some questions on what insurance do you take, etc. So you point the model to something that has all that information, so it ingests it, and then it answers the question when people go and ask the question on the website, for example. So we built something like that. We pointed the model to look at a lot of information that we had over time, and then it started spitting answers out, and then we realized after a few customer complaints, we were providing outdated or wrong information. And partly it was where we were pointing because our data wasn't very good. So that was one of the disappointments that, it's garbage in and then garbage out. So that was a disappointment. But also we realized that we needed to train the model a lot more before we put it out for use. So that was from one of the early experiences. And the benefit, I think, there's many, but one that you don't plan on what you get is how the same team or a naysayer or somebody who doesn't believe in the value actually, after being involved in it, seeing it work, turns around and becomes a very engaged person. And that's not something we planned. What we actually planned was we would have a big, change curve to manage through. However, what we realized is the people who thought that their jobs would be replaced, and they were themselves involved in it and testing it and saw the value in it, and now it enabled them to do different things more efficiently, they actually became more engaged. And that was a collateral benefit. We actually planned for the exact opposite, but we got that, so that was a good surprise.
I like that term, collateral benefit.
Yeah, I think, first of all, when you say artificial intelligence, that those two words sort of imply intelligence, right? And so then you have an expectation. You sort of say, well, I need to write this complicated article. I'll just give it a prompt and it'll write the article. So the disappointment becomes, which perhaps is good to some degree, is that while it's an extremely effective tool, and I'll explain the benefit that I've at least found, it doesn't actually, it can't do the whole job for you typically. And what ends up happening is that I often run into the situation that I'm sure many of you have as well, where you ask it to do something and you kind of read it and it says, you know, that actually sounds not bad. But then you sort of read it and say, but that doesn't make any sense, you know? And then you sort of, it's almost like the old age would say, it would be kind of a high school bullshit test, right? So you have to sort of figure out how to use it. Now, where I found it to be extremely useful is in fields that I don't know. You know, the fields that I know, I don't really need it that much. But fields that I don't know, it's extremely effective in getting me sort of ramped up to the edge. And so I can kind of, through a series of questions, sort of do that. And so that's, yeah, I think, you know, it's kind of the next level of Google search, right? Where you can just quickly understand things, and you can ask, interrogate, which you can't do in search, right? You can't say that, what do you mean by this? Or what does that mean? Or, you know, this kind of conversational thing. It's amazingly effective at that, which, by the way, kind of brings to question how education will have to change based on this, because it's so much more effective as a mechanism for education.
All right, so I'm going to hit you with rapid fire because you brought up education. Is this the death of critical thinking, yes or no?
No, I don't think so. It will be an augmentation.
Well, I think it's the opposite, which is if you don't have critical thinking, then you would blindly accept what it says, which is then very problematic, right? So you actually need critical thinking way more.
All right, I like the positivity. So I'm looking at time and I want to make sure everyone gets a chance to ask their questions. Just dropping everything over here. This is what happens when you're old school and you're a caver. So how many people here could use like 10 extra hours in their week? Or another you? You know, you have those days where you're like, oh, there was just two of me. To me, that's kind of one of the most exciting parts of AI. What is one piece of advice that you could give everyone to walk out of here today with to leverage AI to make them more efficient starting tomorrow?
If you are not using AI today, and you think it's not for me, it's small business or my line of work, I think that you need to change it. You're dead wrong. There are tools that cost between $1 a month to maybe $100 a month that really can go to that 10-hour savings or even more just out there. So my one piece of advice is, you know, I'm a hotel owner, I'm a doctor, it's not for me. It really doesn't matter who you are. There is something out there that you could use to go out and save yourself that time. So don't, I hope you're not, but if you are, then hopefully you go out and do a bit of research and find those tools. But yeah, that would be the advice.
Yeah, I mean, whether you like it or not, all the applications that you use are going to have AI versions. And I think one of the implications will be, hopefully, that the interaction models with those applications will be much easier. And so that would be one thing. So that's not going to be empty. It's just going to happen. Everybody's is adopting it. I think the second question is in what you're doing, in the world you're in. Is there a problem that would be useful with an agent? The technical term we have is agents, and so if that's the case, then that's the place where you start looking at sort of a solution, right? So
do you want to talk a little bit more about agents for anyone who might not be familiar?
I think you'd be an expert. I would just kind of do some basic explaining of AI because, we were just saying AI is, and pardon my French here, but it's like becoming a bastardized term. It's attached to everything and anything, and there is such a varying degree of understanding. So at the risk of saying or sharing something very basic, I would say, think of AI in kind of, there are three parts to it. One is you do a search and it gives you an answer. It's kind of like a calculator, which you put in numbers and it gives you the answer because it's programmed. However, in this case, you give it some prompts, text, and it creates content or writes content or creates an image for you. So that's called generative AI. Then there is AI that looks at all of your data, right? If you're a business owner, it looks at all of your sales numbers, your inventory, etc., and provides a prediction of what you need to reorder next time or what your customers may be up for buying this season or something like that. That's all predictive AI. And then you have this new thing called agentic AI, which is now upon us and very heavily started to be used. Agentic AI is more like, don't tell me, it's not that they give you the answer. They actually go and perform the task as well, right? So they can write, they cannot just create a marketing campaign, they can go and execute that campaign. They cannot just go and find you the best deal in the hotel to stay. They can actually book it, they can give you directions, so they actually go and do the work. So those are the three things I would say. That's the basics of AI. There is the generative AI, there is predictive AI, and then there is agentic AI. So when we say agentic AI, that means think of it as those high-performing associates or employees that you would have that on your behalf would go and actually do the work with very little direction. You pointed them to the North Star, they go and figure it out and they get it done. But I would let him explain more of the technical and detailed explanation.
I don't think the technical detail is useful, but I think the way to think about it is just what the word says. They're an agent that does something on your behalf, right? And so and if you were coming from the consulting world, it's a workflow that's been automated to a degree that the agent can execute on it. Now, this is not only interesting technologically, but from a company point of view, this is what starts attaching economic value to these things. And so people are now, people will make arguments about, okay, how many people did it take to do this, and how many people were you using to do this, and my agent can do this, therefore the cost of my agent is blah, blah, blah. So this is the vector that sort of we're on, and the agents themselves are really typically doing lower level work, but very useful work, right? But still lower level work. The higher level work, we still need human beings for lots and lots of reasons. And as I said, how I opened the talk, what I'm worried about is how do you get students, our kids, from where they are to the higher level work, because that's where the gap is, and I think that's quite an interesting issue.
Thank you very much. And looking at the time, I appreciate you taking my questions, but I really do want to open it up if anyone has
I
any
sent you
questions.
2 questions on the QR code.
Oh, all right.
Which is okay, right? I just followed instructions.
You would just ask them since you're here? Go ahead.
I think it's articulated better.
Okay.
Okay.
5 more questions.
Okay, so we have, which industry do you think will have the biggest disruption due to AI?
I personally think almost every industry is being disrupted. It's just a matter of time where it comes, but you can see already the self-driving in automobiles is a big one. The healthcare we're not seeing it yet, but with quantum computing, which is just a very fast, very high level of computing, which is required to solve problems like cancer. If there is a chance tomorrow, it's more based on that There'll be a lot of disruptions across every industry. I don't personally feel one more than other, but some high level, it will accelerate the problem solving of, of what it normally would have happened over a longer period of time, and therefore the disruption will come to almost every industry.
I have a different view. I
Yeah.
think defense is going to take lead in it because it's becoming more and more, and I feel that all the governments across the world are going to use AI to track what's forthcoming to them.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
let me,
already using it.
yeah, I mean, we'll see, but let me just, so language processing is the kind of core of the LLM technology. So today, anyway, in the short term, software development is going to, there's huge changes there that are going to happen and are happening, right? Design teams are going from like 20 to 2, 20 to 5. Marketing, copy editing, so anything language related, okay, you're going to get this phenomenon of smaller teams, but the higher level, the higher level person is driving using AI to become much, much more productive. Okay? On your comment on defense, I just want to give you a sense of the size of the defense industry, I'll say in the US, let's say, compared to other industries. So, if you take the top defense primes in the US, Lockheed Martin, L3Harris, if you add up their R&D spend and sum it, that number is less than what Apple by itself spends on R&D. One company, consumer. So consumer, on the one side, is orders of magnitude bigger, okay? In size, in impact, in things like underlying technology with semiconductors, like 85% of semiconductors going to consumer, right? So those industry, by the way, Magnificent Eight, what are those, right? I'm talking about the investment, on the investment side. They're all consumer companies, they're not defense companies, right? So I think the lead actually will come from the consumer side. Of course, we'll have, fighting robots and, swarms of drones and all this sort of stuff. But I suspect that's not where the tip of the spear is.
All right, our next question is, can you please share useful platforms you recommend for businesses to get accustomed to AI in their workplace?
Depends on what function you're trying to automate, but of course, everybody knows the chat GPTs that can help you. Any generative engine that helps you create content. You can buy subscription to the Canva Magic Studio that can do a lot of graphic artists if you're a small freelancer or marketing, you want to involve yourself in. Zapier is another big platform, very economic. Again, there's a lot of graphic arts and other stuff. HubSpot AI that does a ton of marketing. So if you're a small pharmacy and you want to run marketing campaigns to reach out to all your customers, just go and get HubSpot AI and you can automate all the campaigns. It takes the context, creates the content, creates an image, puts your promotion, tells you what promotion to put, and then go and execute that. So there's a ton of, then you get into the particular domains. If you're a medical doctor, you can have, there are many tools for transcribing the patient notes. Almost every industry, there's tools, I guarantee you, between $1 a month to $100 a month that you can find with like 5 minutes of Google research, and they offer a trial that you can kind of try and test and use. But there is, my kids use Homeworkify. That's a tool that helps them with homework, right? So almost everything there is a tool already. I mean, we are lucky to live in the country that is spending so much money, private and now also government, that is leading the AI race, and then the culture of it, the capitalistic mindset here, and it's so great that people have developed so many applications already. I was in India until last night, I came back. The knowledge and the amount of applications that are needed and the knowledge of AI at the ground level is still extremely limited, right? It's still with professionals in certain industries in big cities. It's not as widespread as you see here. So let's benefit from it. Almost every industry and domain has a tool out there that you can use for whatever function you wish to apply it to.
Yeah, I agree completely. Well said.
I'll just add one thing. I wouldn't Google it. I would chat
Yeah,
GPT it.
I was gonna say.
How can you differentiate between AI-generated content and actual, real, factual content, especially in speech and videos? It's dangerous when it's shared in social media as a receiver. How can we detect the authenticity of the speech or the video?
I don't know. I worry this is personally my biggest fear. The future problem of the world is going to be how do you separate the signal from the noise? There is just so much noise. I'm in marketing and I could produce 25 pieces of content a year, good pieces of content. Today my team can easily, one person can do 25 a month. And they can create videos and animation and graphics. And it's just the amount of information that is out there, it is daunting. And I'm hoping there is a tool that is AI-based that can help differentiate. But I don't really know. And that is a big worry, not just for me, I think for most people. Like, how will we know this?
So, I have two answers. One is it's obviously going to be an arms race, right? So we'll have AI that generates it, and then nobody will ever read that because we'll have an AI that interprets the generated data and summarizes it for us, and we can even ask it questions about is it real or not, and and the two AI engines will I guess have the arms race with each other. The second thing is at the policy level, there's a very strong notion, of course, in governments of identity. The social security or passport, things like that. We don't have as strong a notion of identity and printing, or printing is not the right word, generation of what you've generated in the digital domain. And so the question is that something that, from a policy point of view, we build an infrastructure which has, identity connected to it. So even if you use AI to generate something, if you're connected to it, somehow your metadata is connected to this. That's probably kind of a way that eventually will go, but obviously you need some kind of governmental action for that.
All right, thank you. Now, I know we have at least one lawyer in the room, so what legal protections should you take when starting to implement AI within a business?
Legal protections. Well, today, I work in autonomous vehicles, and as you know, many of you know, whatever AI they use, you, the driver, are the ultimate liability point today, right? And for the cars like Waymo, the company takes the liability point, right? So if you use AI, just realize ultimately the liability point's still with you, unless you can convince somebody that it's the product in general. And as far as I know, that's going to be the case for a while.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't a national regulation that is yet put in place. I mean, Elon Musk, when he was part of OpenAI, pushed for it, prevented it from kind of launching, which is why they kind of had a breakup, if you will. But, there isn't a national policy in place. The big worry in the industry is lack of it means there will be a patchwork of state policies. And that will become very difficult for then businesses to follow. So what we do right now is just, as I said before, declare it and resist the temptation to collect data and overreach with that data, because that's generally where you get in trouble. And then when you providing an interpretation of that data in the model that you used, declaring that this is based on AI, and then even your ChatGPT answer, if you scroll all the way down, it says this may not be 100% accurate, right? So just practice simple things like that, I think, for now, would be the advice.
Thank you. So these next two, I'm going to combine them because I think when we're preparing students today, we need to prepare them for AI and for being AI proof. So first part of the question is, how would you suggest students get a head start into AI for career readiness? And the second part would be, when looking at younger college-age students, what would you say will teach them to be critical? Beyond what sounds like information managers, busy secretaries, and the executive for the CEO vision. What program is going to teach them to think for themselves?
So this, as I've alluded to several times, I guess in today's session, how we take the population that is trying to learn and getting into careers, how we take them and make them ready for, as it were, this is a very critical issue. Okay, and I guess my answer would be relative to how to learn. It's easy enough to learn. You just engage with there's more than enough out there to actually engage with the AI systems. I think the hard part is, when you're young, to have enough context to know how to ask the right questions, because you don't know what you don't know, right? And so I personally think we're going to have to start thinking about, and by the way, in other communities we're having actively this conversation, we're probably going to have to think about some kind of structure where businesses are incentivized to bring in younger people and ramp them into that world, right? Otherwise, just to give you a contrast, when I was graduating, I went to CMU in the early 80s, it was very, very common for business to hire en masse from universities. We would hire hundreds, thousands of students. We would then train them internally in the company until they became productive. And I would say by the 2000s, by the way, very much driven by kind of offshoring of services, we went to basically a just-in-time model. We basically said, okay, well, this wasn't said this way, but really, if you needed X, Y, and Z to be done, rather than hiring a young person and waiting a year before they're productive, we basically said, well, I need this job done. Let me just get this service company in India or wherever to do it for me. And it was capital efficient. It has all these advantages, but the disadvantage it has is you don't have kind of retention. And AI is just taking that to the extreme, right? So we're going to have to think very hard about how to enable this process so that young people can get in. It's probably going to have to be some incentives at the government level to do that.
Well, I think it's fair to say we're at an exciting time. There's as many questions as there are answers every day, and that always means opportunity. So thank you, gentlemen, so much. Can we give them a round of applause?
Thank you. Dr. Main, I have one question for you. The students because AI is still to catch up in our education system. The people the students who are going to school, by the time they graduate, will their knowledge become obsolete because of AI?
Wow, way to put me on the spot. My boss is sitting here. I have to say, absolutely not. It's very valuable. Everyone send your kids to college, preferably UCF. No, we will
Thank you so much. Do you have a question?
So basically, it's not going to remove the human element because we are talking human to human, soul to soul. And that human element is always going to remain there because we are in the customer service, we are in a social environment, and it's the humanity, and no machine can replace that.
Hopefully, because I hear people have AI girlfriends now. So with this, I would like to thank you, Dr. Main, Dr. Rajnan, and thank you so much. And thank you for our sponsor, LNH Technology. It's a new launch today. And there's another new launch in the form of food, which is Punjabi Zaika. If everyone likes the food or anyone likes the food you want to cater, you can utilize them. And before we go, I want to present a token of appreciation to all the three of you. Jan Gautam, can you come please? Please give to Mr. Shah. Dr. Joshi, can you please come? Can you give to Dr. Rajdan? And Sarah Gulati, can you come, please? To our awesome moderator who helped us from the get-go, Dr. Meen. Let's give them a big round of applause. And of course, I have to pitch in that please become Indian American Chamber of Commerce members. We are going to do several of these events, and it will be worthwhile for all of you to become members and encourage and tell us what you want to hear, because we want to connect youth to the business entrepreneurs so they can start business. And we have a video to play as well. The first video, who was organizing it? I think I have to find that video myself.
This year, the Indian American Chamber of Commerce continued to bridge culture and commerce across Central Florida. Moments of celebration, moments of service, all connected by
Thank you so much.
to bring people together through purpose.
I see a lot of my friends. Please go to IACC website and become member today. We have a special gift. Whoever to become member.
Future of business and
Dr. Patel, special gift if you choose to become member today.
our culture took center.
Thank you so much.
Uniting